Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee, Books, and Rain. I'm Rachel with my coffee, with my books and my reviews. No rain, but that's okay. Now my contacts are giving me a little bit of an issue right now, so if I mess with them, I apologize, but that's because I had this, I think I just need to drink more water or something. I probably just need to hydrate. They're a little dry. But let us dive into the book of the moment. And I did actually wait a little bit in order to review this. And the reason being is because I was so excited for it that I didn't want to give too much away too early. So it is Brigands and Breadknives by Travis Baldree, and it is Legends and Lattes #2. Now you're like, wait, Rachel, there's 2 books out already. True, but one is kind of like the prequel. So that one would be like point 0.5, and then there's the first one, which is Legends and Lattes, and now there's Brigands and Breadknives, and so cute. It was fantastic to dive back into this world because we get to pretty much talk about all of the people that we've talked about already, but we also get to move forward with a brand new story and see what's happening in the world this time. So it is approximately 336 pages in hardcover. I did have the audiobook as well as the ebook and can say that the audiobook was incredibly well done. I want to say Travis Baldree, the author, is the one who narrates it. So he is able to insert all the inflections that he was intending when he wrote it into their words when he actually narrates it. So kudos to him for being so multi-talented, but also is expected publication of November 11th, 2025. So let us dive into the summary and we'll go from there. Return to the cozy world of the #1 New York Times best-selling Legends and Lattes series with a new adventure featuring fan favorite, foul-mouthed bookseller Fern. Fern has weathered the stillness and storms of a bookseller's life for decades, but now, in the face of crippling ennui, I guess so, ennui, transplants herself to the city of Thune to hang out with her shingle, beside a long absent friend's coffee shop. But what could be a better pairing? Surely a charming renovation montage will cure all that ails her. If only things were so simple. It turns out that fixing your life isn't a one-time prospect, nor as easy as a change of scenery and a lick of paint. A drunken and desperate knight sees the ratkin waking far from home in the company of a legendary warrior surviving on inertia, an imprisoned chaos goblin with a fondness for silverware, and an absolutely thumping hangover. As together, they fend off a rogues gallery of ne'er-do-wells trying to claim the bounty the goblin represents, Fern may finally reconnect with the person she actually is when there isn't a job to get in the way. So I thought this one was really fun because if you understand that in the first one, Viv and we'll just say Viv. So the first one, Legends and Lattes, Viv, she has decided to hang up her axe and to settle down and relax. Well, the thing is, for Fern, because we kind of learn about it in the first one, is Fern has been a bookseller for most of her life, and she kind of has lived a little bit vicariously through her books. Well, time has passed, and Fern is getting older, and it almost makes me think that it's been she's got to be in her 40s by now. I don't know. I'm putting that in human years. But time has passed since Legends and Lattes when her and Viv were doing the thing in Bookshops and Bone Dust. Yeah. So it's been a while since that particular installment. And she received a letter, from Viv saying, hey, you can always come to Thune, set up shop, and, start a new life here. So she does. After years of being wherever she was, I'm kind of drawing a blank on that particular, where she was originally. She joins Viv in Thune, and they build up her shop, and they get it all set up, and she is not really happy. She has found that this does not feel right. Yeah, she's good at it. She can sell books. She's been doing it pretty much her whole life. But she doesn't know if she wants to do it anymore. And so that's where this one takes a step away, because where Viv has lived this life of danger and battling and fighting, Fern's never actually done that from a ground level perspective. She has been living in her cozy bookshop with her foul-mouthed self, and she is just as spicy and just as sassy as she's always been. She's just a little older at this point, so maybe she wakes up with her back hurting, and maybe, drinking will cause her to have a bigger hangover. Well, that's exactly kind of what happens, is we see her in a drunken stupor, kind of regretting her life in Thune. Like, she doesn't hold any animosity towards Viv. Of course, Viv is just offered her this opportunity, but she now feels like she's letting Viv down. She feels like she's really not living up to what she feels like she promised she would do. And I think that was a part that was really kind of it hit me a little hard, is because, I don't know, the onus that Fern places on herself to follow through with this, it feels really heavy. I don't know why she felt like she couldn't talk to Viv about what she was feeling. And I know that there's some conversation about why she feels like she couldn't and all this sort of stuff, but it didn't make a lot of sense to me. So I was just very confused. But I was so incredibly happy that she decides in a drunken stupor to go to sleep in a random cart that's outside. And when she wakes up, there is a goblin staring at her in the face. And, well, it might be that there's this warrior as well, who is well known for being this superior champion. But this is just where this book starts off, is we've definitely see that Fern is now on adventures. We didn't go on adventures in the first two books. We cozy fantasy books that did not, they pretty much were cozy because they stayed in one place and they were just inside of a bookshop or just inside of a coffee shop. And we still get the little, what is the little ratkin's name that makes all the Thimble. Thimble is still in this book, and he's still making pastries, and I love him so much. He's my favorite, but we don't get as much Thimble this time. But he seems to be doing really well and still making delicious treats. So now Fern feels like she's missing out. Now she sets off on the road by accident in a drunken stupor, again, because she didn't choose it. So she beats herself up for 90% of the book because she didn't want to disappoint Viv. So sorry. I needed to go check on my contact because it was rolling around and giving me such blurry vision. But I am back to continue talking about Fern joining this crew of adventurers by accident. So we have Asterisk, which is, what do they call her? They call her a bladesmith and oath maiden. And apparently she is on a quest to bring back a bounty, which is this goblin. And this goblin girl seems pretty chill. Yeah, she wanders away pretty frequently. She tends to steal some silverware every once in a while. But for the most part, she's not a bad character. She's pretty fun. And I really like her. And so the only way, Fern only knows goblin cursing. So that's it. She feels like whenever the goblin talks, if Fern can't understand her, it must not be cursing. Well, Asterisk is on the other hand. She's never really had a page or a squire, I guess you could say. But it seems as though Fern has come along and is kind of a little bit of a page or a squire. I'm not certain the difference between those, so I do apologize. But Fern is also kind of, she's constantly writing letters to Viv at this particular time. Again, she is still kind of beating herself up about leaving the way she did, but she's really not rushing back either. So she's kind of torn. And so she keeps apologizing in all these letters. And the only one that she ever actually mails is she just like writes, "I'm sorry," and then she leaves. So of course, by the end of the book, Viv has been freaking out this whole time because she's like, all you said was "I'm sorry" and you didn't say anything else. How was I not supposed to worry? Like, put something in there. But of course, Fern, she was constantly writing letter after letter after letter, and she kept most of them. So, by the end of it, she's able to like be like, "Well, I did write you, I just didn't send them." But there are lots of references and allusions to things and people in the other books. Now, as one person said, I do think these books could stand alone without having read the others. But I think they make way more sense if you read them, not in the order they were written, but you go Bookshops and Bone Dust, Legends and Lattes, and now Brigands and Breadknives. I think that would really be the best way to read them if you were going to start somewhere. So we have, in this particular book, a horse named Bucket. We have a talking sword named Nigel, which seems more or less like he is, I don't know, like a little bit of a version of Excalibur sort of things. And then, we've got like the Goblin, and I had so much fun. It is less cozy than the other ones, but simply because we have more adventure. Now it's a cozy adventure and it's still fairly low stakes, but it is adventure nonetheless. But we could definitely call it cozy adventuring, because I still think that, she's going through a midlife crisis and she gets drunk, she runs away, she ends up whisked off down the street by someone that she really kind of admires. Like, she's heard the stories of Asterisk, and Asterisk's name seems to precede her in a lot of different ways, but also Asterisk seems to kind of not really care about like what her image that people seem to have created about her. So I think Fern helps Asterisk find her purpose again, which is really fantastic. Now, again, this little goblin is awesome, and not going to tell you some spoilers on that, but Fern is constantly upset at Asterisk for like trying to complete this bounty of turning in this goblin, and so they do get in a lot of fights over that. They're like, "Well, why don't you just let her go? Why can't we just do this? Why can't we just do that?" And anyway, I loved diving back into this world. I really, really hope that we have more adventures in the future. I don't know if we will. And I was just going to click on his name to see if... Now, I think it says he only had... Wow. Okay. I was wrong. He has 302 books, according to this. I did not realize that. Why does it have Travis Baldree books, but it lists Dungeon Crawler Carl number 6? Well, that's definitely not his. At least I don't think it's his. There are a couple of middle books. Pages to Fill is Legends and Lattes .5. There's a Cradle series, but that says by Will White and Travis Baldree. So... Oh, wait, looks like we want Goblins and Greatcoats. Ooh, is this going to be a new one after this? No, maybe. I don't know. Oh, it's the Legends and Lattes .6. Okay. Well, I don't know anything about this one, but that one looked kind of cute too. It's a goblin with too many pockets. So that is the book. That's the girl that we encounter in this one. So, okay. Well, that's fun. So Brigands and Breadknives has the little goblin. Her name is Zill. And she has a disturbing affinity for cutlery, and on a rain-soaked night for adventurers, a pair of corpses, a junk drawer knife, some unfortunate taxidermy, and a beleaguered gate warden. So that sounds super fun. Okay, I didn't even know that existed, but apparently it came out in June of 24, and now I'm gonna have to go find it. I don't even know if it's actually available. I thought it was going to be like Legends and Lattes number 3 or something like that, but I guess not. Um, Anyway, with all of that being said, I am so glad that I was able to review and read and get my hands on this book. I love diving back into cozy fantasy where the stakes are fairly low, the characters feel familiar, and we are able to follow them on their journey even more, where we see a lot of growth from them as people. And when I put quotes around people, it's because she's a ratkin and Viv is an ogress. And so there's like a tiefling, and then there's goblins, and then there's elves. So people. We're all people. But with all of that being said, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. I highly recommend you pick up this series. It does well and it reviews well for exactly the reason that you would expect. And it's because it's lighthearted and it's whimsical. And yet there's still a bit of adventuring and growth, found family, and all of the above within this book. There's even a little bit of romance too. I'm just saying. But I will see you all on the next page. I hope you have a great one. Bye.